Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, and welcome to Smash Saturday, where we talk about all things Smash related until we get a new Smash game, whether that be Smash 6 or Smash Ultimate Deluxe. Today I want to talk about 10 things that I really don't want to see in the next Smash game. And now, I did a video about this pretty recently, talking about 10 things I need in the next Smash game. That did include some omissions from what's in Smash Ultimate currently, stuff like 0 to deaths. I didn't talk about getting rid of Rage, but I talked about tuning it down and like comeback mechanics and stuff like that. So if one of those things is not in this video, it's likely in that video, so go check that one out as well. I would really appreciate it. With that out of the way, let's talk about 10 things I do not want to see in Smash 6 here. Starting with number 10, which is going to be recovery, Tether Recovery up Bs. I don't think they're a particularly interesting way to do recoveries. I know some characters, like let's say Ivysaur for Ivysaur's up B, makes the most sense. The Vine Whip seems like the best way to do a recovery for Ivysaur. So in some instances, maybe you can't get away from doing that, but I really want to focus on the DLC characters. They're the most broken examples of tether recoveries that we've seen in Smash Ultimate, namely Joker, Byleth, and Min Min. Their up B recoveries are just atrociously good, and it's such a puzzle because you look at characters like Simon Richter, who don't have an up B tether recovery, granted, but they're like forward air that they use to recover back to the stage, or even if you look at some of the other like Z recovery ones, they don't go nearly as far as something like Min Min or Byleth or Joker. You can go super deep and still recover. In Byleth's case, you can even like cling to the stage below if the tether recovery doesn't go high enough, and then get your tether, which I think is just crazy. So I don't think tether recoveries are particularly good. Specifically, they need to be not that strong. So if you're going to have like an Ivysaur one, I don't think it's crazy. Ivysaur's is pretty darn good, but it's nothing near like Joker's or Byleth's or Min Min's. So I just want to see those either tuned down completely or just completely gone in the next Smash game. Number 9 is going to be super safe distance demons. I don't understand the philosophy of distance demons in Smash Ultimate. I like what they did early on with Simon and Richter. I think they're very good examples of how to do a distance demon well. Same thing with Sephiroth. They don't have huge hitboxes. They don't have like super active hitboxes on their aerials. You have to be more precise because you have a ton of range. You don't have just a lot of safety you can throw out. Compare that to Byleth, who was a pretty big distance demon early on, pretty much invalidated anything that Simon Richter did because she had so much more range. Like even Corrin in Smash 4, you could see examples of this starting to overreach quite a bit. But Byleth was the first big example of like, oh no, they're doing this a little bit too crazy. The hitboxes are really big. It's way more active. MKLeo was crushing with this character and no one thought the character was that good because it's just all about the spacing. But obviously the one that's the biggest offender here is Min Min. Min Min is a distance demon who has no real weaknesses. She has all the range in the world. She has incredibly active hitboxes, super easy to gimp people off stage or from in the middle of the stage. There's just no risk in approaching, and if they get up close, distance demon should have a very hard time. If you look at Simon, like Nair out of shield is one of your best options. Up B out of shield, those aren't the best options to get off, but like that's the best one that they have. Byleth is kind of similar. Nair out of shield is a really strong option. And there's not a whole lot of other options for them. Min Min has up smash out of shield, up air out of shield. You've got like the jab is very fast. Obviously, jab works for this other tether these other distance demons as well. But she just has so many close-up options and ways to like anti-air you to keep you from getting in and to like clear vertical space. I did a whole video talking about Min Min and griping about it, so you can go check that out if you want to hear my full thoughts on that. But she just has all the strengths of a distance demon amplified even better than any of the other ones, and then none of the weaknesses. It's just pretty atrocious, and I don't want to see distance demons handled like this in the future. Give me stuff more like Simon Richter and like Sephiroth. So when they do pop off, it's really cool because we know the character isn't particularly good, but because the person like pushed them so hard, like T3 Dom or Tweak, they just made the character look so awesome and shine so bright because they know how to utilize the character the best instead of just being a broken mess like Min Min specifically. Next is going to be RNG Moves. This is one that I think it's just time to say goodbye to. I think we can safely say that they're they're funny. They can be really interesting. I like Luigi's side B. I like the misfire missiles. They're hilarious to me. But I think that there is just it's time to maybe approach this a little bit differently. I think RNG moves had their place. I think the Judge Hammer is always going to be a funny thing. But then when you put it on a character like Game & Watch who's already super broken in every way in Smash Ultimate already, and then you give an RNG move that could just kill you outright. Same thing with Hero having all of the broken RNG stuff. Peach having turnips that you can pick, but you can pick up a bomb or a Mr. Saturn, or sometimes the turnips do more damage or knockback, and paying attention to those things just makes the game a little more chaotic. That's obviously like the name of the game in like a more casual sense. Obviously RNG makes it more fun and wild and wacky. So I don't know if I necessarily want to lose it. I would like to have an option to maybe turn off RNG for the competitive space. Let's say you just have your moves do exactly what they're supposed to do with no variance whatsoever. Villagers up air is now just a 2 turnip thing instead of 3 or 1 or 2, or Luigi doesn't get the misfire, or maybe it's like every certain amount of times. I don't know what they would do to do that, but I think just getting rid of it and revamping movesets would be the best way to do that going into Smash 6. I think that's the most simple way to get over RNG is just change some moves, make them less random. I think having RNG just makes for a less stable competitive environment, and I just think it'd be nice to see everyone be consistent across the board. Number 7 is going to be Untekables. I think Untekables have been really unfortunate in Smash Ultimate specifically. This has always been a thing in Smash games as far as I understand. To certain percents, you can't just keep teching forever. But I do like in Smash 4 seeing you get to very, very high percents before Untekables start to be something that really causes a problem. One of the most iconic Smash clips ever is the Fox getting hit by Martha B into the Dreamland stage over and over again and constantly teching that. And it's just really cool to see. It's one of the coolest moments that I can think of off the top of my head in terms of like really cool tech that happened in Smash and in the Smash scene in general. Excuse me. I think it was, I said before Smash 4 here. But in Smash Ultimate, Untekables just are unpredictable. That's the biggest thing. They're just kind of annoying. You don't really know when an Untekable is going to happen. And that's the biggest drawback of it. And sometimes it'll be like, it's not like percentage based either. Sometimes a move just has so much knockback it kills you off the stage and you can't tech it. Or like Steve's blocks have weird interactions, you can't tech them sometimes. It's just really annoying to be hit by something like that and die at a really early percent when you could have teched it. And if you don't know what teching is, that's when you click the shield button right before hitting the wall and it stops your momentum. Stuff like that makes the competitive integrity so much better, because if you just get stage spiked at 40, you just die all the time. But the inconsistency of Untekables makes the game less fun to see, and it makes it a lot less fun to play as well. So I'd just rather get rid of them altogether or give it like a very consistent window of when they're going to happen. Give it percentage, like after 200% Untekables happen. Something like that would make it more clear. We just don't have any rules on it, so I'd rather just get rid of them entirely. Let me tech the stage until 500% and make them actually earn their kill. Next is going to be item spawning. I don't think items really should have a place in Smash anymore. I think they definitely had a place. Peach and Melee, very iconic, pulling the turnips, getting different RNG stuff like I talked about before. You've got Diddy with his banana peel. You've got I think specifically like holdable items. Projectiles are a different thing. I'm not talking about like Duck Hunt Can. I'm talking about Rob Gyro. These items just make characters incredibly strong for no good reason. Again, this could be benefited from like a revamped moveset. I would love to see these item spawning characters get something else to replace it. I think items are just too strong in the space as it is, and to see them just kind of ruin games. And to be fair, I love Diddy Kong. I think banana combos are really sick. Peach combos can be really cool with turnip, but I would like to see something else. Items are really broken and turned off in tournament settings for a reason. The fact that some characters can just pull them and use them indefinitely, I think breaks the balance of the game just a little bit. Number 5 is going to be acting out of air dodge. I don't like this at all. In every Smash game, the only Smash game that you've been able to act out of air dodge before Ultimate was Smash 4, when you only had neutral air dodge and you could do it multiple times and you could like spam that. I didn't like that very much. Getting back to directional air dodge was cool, but I would like to see it implemented more like Melee or Brawl. I know that's like a very boomer thing to say at this point, but I do think it has some credence here. I think it buffs recoveries way too much. I don't like that you can sometimes do your air dodge and then like get someone catch someone unawares. I would love to see something better implemented with this. If you're going to directional air dodge, I think you should go into free fall animation, period. I don't think that the directional air dodges, I talked about this in my other video too, should be as strong as they are. Like I think they should be a set distance, or like not nearly as good as some of them are. Ness goes extremely high, same with Jigglypuff. I would love to see a little bit toned down. There's some characters that make it back from things that you really shouldn't be able to do, or being able to air dodge out of up Bs. It's just too strong of a mechanic. I think if you neutral air dodge in the air, you don't go into free fall, but if you directional air dodge, you do go into free fall, and it's like a pretty punishing thing, like it is in Melee specifically there. I think that would make the game a lot better in terms of like actually having fun and like the competitive integrity of things. I just think that directional air dodge off stage, try to get back to stage, just gives you too many recovery options, and I just think it's too strong as it is right now. Number 4 is going to be the buffer system. Get rid of it entirely. Buffer system is stupid. It does so many things that are like good for certain characters. The buffer system can be really, really strong for them, and it can punish a lot of characters as well, because you'll get like some awful input. Typically it's like SDing off stage because you directional air dodge. I don't like the buffer system. I don't think it's a beneficial thing in any way, shape, or form. It makes some combos too easy. It makes accidentally SDing way too easy, and I just think it's dumb. I think it's the worst it's ever been in Smash Ultimate. I know there's always some kind of like buffer system, but I think it's exceptionally egregious in this one, and I just think they should get rid of it. Stop doing buffers. Make players do their inputs perfectly. Just make it a tech skill thing, and let's move on from there. I think the buffer system is awful. Get rid of it entirely. Number 3 is going to be overpowered DLC, specifically that kills the game. I think that they have done this back-to-back games and just never learned their lesson. The biggest thing is they don't balance long enough to go and correct these characters. Obviously, Bayonetta was a huge problem in Smash 4. The reason that it like got kicked off the competitive circuit in terms of like the big stage. But Cloud before that was also extremely strong, and the DLC characters before him were also pretty darn strong for the most part. Roy and Lucas and Mewtwo. Actually, no, Mewtwo was very strong. Roy and Lucas, maybe not so much, but Mewtwo, Ryu, Corrin, you had Cloud and Bayonetta. They were all extremely strong. Obviously, Bayonetta and Cloud were the big things that started to move the competitive game in a certain direction, and Bayonetta straight up killed the game in so many ways. Smash Ultimate didn't learn anything from that. Steve, Min, you've got just Kazuya just running chaos and making tournaments feel less exciting. I know for me, I have stopped watching competitive almost entirely. I will tune in every now and again to just check up and see what's going on, but I'm not watching tournaments anymore. It's just not fun. Steve rules the meta, and he's a really lame character, really unfun. I like characters to be very true to their source material without being busted, like Sephiroth, like Banjo. These characters are not necessarily that good. They can be in the right hands, and that's what makes them fun to watch. But Steve is just really unfun because he's just so broken. Min's the exact same way. Make them true to their series without giving them so many broken things, because it ruins games. And if you're not going to be able to balance them properly after they're launched, if they're too good to balance and bring them down, like Bayonetta was in Smash 4, like Steve is in Smash Ultimate, then they shouldn't be that strong to begin with. And they need to bring that down here. Number 2 is going to be footstool out of shield. I hate footstool out of shield. I think it's a terrible mechanic. I really just have grown to hate it over time. There are some cool things, like Joker gun footstool out of shield is pretty darn cool. I do like that. But almost everything else, I think, just sucks. Specifically, Steve, footstool out of shield, Anvil. These are true punishes that you can do if they land too unsafe on your shield. It is a tech skill thing. It is a hard thing to do. But essentially what it is, if they land too close on your shield, you can enact a footstool, which is jumping off of their head, and leave them in an animation where they cannot act long enough for you to throw out an aerial or some kind of move that kills them, essentially, or like sets them up in a bad position. And in Steve's case, the Anvil is already extremely strong, and it's a guaranteed kill at very low percents. I think it's too busted. There are lots of characters that benefit from this, and I think like true footstool out of shield punishes are just dumb. It's the same thing I felt about in Smash 4 when they did the footstool. Footstools were untechable on the stage, and you could get true combos out of these. I just think there's no place for that. I think that that is a mechanic that never needs to happen again. I don't like footstool out of shield. There should never be something that like guarantee locks you in a place where I get a guaranteed kill confirm. You should have to do it out of your own moves, not out of a mechanic that feels like an oversight, in my opinion here. That's going to lead us on to number 1, which is going to be rule breakers. Smash has a established set of rules that you have to follow. Like, that's just how it's been since the beginning. There are characters that do unique things for sure, that change the boundaries of the game, but characters specifically in Smash Ultimate that break the rules include Min and Steve, to name the biggest offenders here. Being able to move while you do attacks is something that no character has ever been able to do. Like Steve being able to jab while moving and it locks you in a true combo. The fact that you can't like really SDI out of it super well, or like at certain percent windows and certain tools, you really just can't get out of it. And even if you do, they'll put you in a bad position and can still kill you off of those. Min being able to walk while doing her tilts is just crazy to me. Being able to do that crap is just dumb. Why would you be able to just say, you know what, I don't follow that rule? Or being able to place platforms in a platform fighter from Steve. It's just stupid. Why would you be able to break the rules when no other character can? And it only really benefits you. There are very minimal uses for other characters with blocks. Blocks only benefit Steve for 99% of the time. Blocks benefit Steve, and that 1% when you accidentally hit him off of his own block, that's like a whole different thing. Min being able to move around while attacking is just stupid, and being able to like break the fundamental rules of the game and just throw them aside and say, you know what, we're just gonna do our own thing, I think is bad game design. I'm just gonna say it straight up. I think it's stupid. I don't think that they should have been able to do that, and I think that they need to follow the rules. They need to have these hard established rules and follow them to the T. We shouldn't have stuff that just breaks it all the time. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Let me know other things you want to get rid of. Let me know what I got wrong here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.